Hey everybody, Jason Bermas here, John Fitch, Mixed Martial Mindset. John's coming in hot. I'm gonna let him take the floor. He says he's got a bone to pick with YouTube, and
No,
go ahead.
they just suck. They just suck, man. They purposely don't share certain videos for whatever political reason. And, I got a smaller YouTube channel, and every once in a while I get a host a show called Rule Zero. It's a rotating thing. Each guy that takes it a different week and does it on their platform. Just kind of share it. I get it, and the title is a little too spicy for them, I guess, and they don't share it. And I've had like 6,000 views in a couple days, but like zero profit, zero money from that. It's just turns my stomach. I'm on restricted mode on Instagram, so my follower count has been steadily dropping over the past few months since March for posting memes they don't like because they don't, the means that make the state, they make the government look bad. That's really all it is. And I've been shadow banned and restricted on Twitter for a decade at least, because I've been stuck at the same follower count within like 5,000 up or down for a decade, about seriously. And it's just gross. These people are gross, and it's like they purposely want to like take money away from you just because they don't agree with you, because they don't like your ideas. They think you're a bad person because you don't want to do things their way. It's just, I'm sick of it. It's so gross.
Well, we're going to get into that quite a bit. We're going to talk about the new Italian prime minister, probably in the kickoff of this.
I saw that today.
Yeah, well, I think it's
nice. It's nice, but at the same time, I don't really think she's all about making government small.
Here's the deal. I'm very much in agreement with you. I don't know much about her. I've already seen pushback, good pushback, saying, hey, this person was for vaccine mandates and lockdowns and that type of authoritarianism. Now, we're going to eventually play this clip that's actually, I believe, from a couple years ago. But if it is a couple years ago, it actually is much more impressive to me than if it was even 3 or 4 days ago. And when I see the Atlantic, which is in full attack mode on people who question anything, we'll get into that in a moment. This is the headline here: the return of fascism in Italy. This is the first woman prime minister ever, by the way. And this is the headline from the Atlantic, with Giorgia Meloni's party leading in polls.
Well, they're misogynists. The Atlantic are a bunch of misogynists. How awful. What xenophobic misogynists they are.
Again, it's beyond cartoon level when you say this, because you are getting someone who's just happens to be a populist leader, right? And look, with all of Trump's faults, one of his great assets was that his rhetoric was with the people. Not always the actions, right? But a lot of his rhetoric and what he was saying was common sense to most people. And I think when you hear her speak, again, it could be up to 2 years ago. I don't know. I know it's going viral right now, but I think it's a 2019 speech. It might be even more than 2 years ago. She gets it. It's very, in my opinion, what we talk about here. No matter what your faith is, no matter what your political stance is, we're pro-family, we're pro-human. Okay? That's it. We understand, look, me and John could never talk to each other again. We still got our family, right? You're never going to not talk to your father, your mother, your brother, your sister. You're always going to, in some capacity, be there for them. And for them, even if they do something you don't like, you love them. There's a bond there, right? And they want to do everything.
Have you watched the new Dahmer series on Netflix?
No, I saw you comment on it. Go ahead, talk about Dahmer. What's your
take
on
just
this?
To make a point of what you're saying is like his dad was there for him to the end. He was a monster, but his dad still, is still his boy.
Again, there's a humanity there, and we're obviously not endorsing all that, but at the same time, isn't that
it's a disturbing show. It's disturbing. Like you got to take breaks. You got to take breaks.
Oh, all right. Well, before I turn my stomach, I'm just gonna say this,
because they could have caught him like 10 different times.
Well, there's a lot more to that story. I would say you check out Jay Dyer's videos on that, because he talks about how Dahmer was also in the military, and you just never know what's going on when you're part of military anything. I'm not saying that makes it more nefarious, etc., but then you see all the red flags of why someone isn't caught again and again and again. And you see past cases such as the Gacy case, and I encourage people to go listen to The Candyman and the Clown, or The Clown and the Candyman. It's a great investigative piece where it really brings you into this world where this probably wasn't just Gacy and it was a larger ring, and this is very dark. And that's the thing. So let's encompass all that. Number one, if you truly are a Christian out there, and I'm not judging one way or the other, again, believe what you want to believe, but that's kind of the ethos too. You got to forgive. And especially with your family, you got to be there for that person, even if they're the most repulsive, repugnant person out there and you're wishing love, right? That's the ultimate Christian ethos. Now, at the same time, it tells you to battle evil, right? So there is that conflict there, but I got to agree with you. Your family is a huge bond. Number two, what we are talking about right there when we're talking about mass murder and serial killers is that often they're connected to, even go check out Chaos with Manson. There's a lot of suggestions there that Manson was protected by the FBI and had intelligence connections, right? And that would also make sense in that era when the CIA, John, is running, what is it, Operation... Oh, man, it's something night something. But basically that was their prostitution ring, coast to coast, where they were drugging the Johns and filming the Johns with these prostitutes, some of which were absolutely underage guys. But you're in right there. You see the CIA is running human trafficking. All right. It's not debatable. They're doing mind control experiments.
They were responsible for the crack epidemic.
You know, but
they're smuggling heroin and crap.
But the Atlantic wants to make you think that someone like me is dangerous. This is why I just finished Shadowlands, which is the Peacock original series where they go after QAnon. And really, it's like a lot of the points, especially with the COVID part, I totally agree with. But it's all about QAnon and crazy people and people that have ruined their lives. And that's why they didn't come and choose me. I haven't ruined my life. I'm not in court. Like all these people, like their lives are just falling apart, right? And at the time, you know, I still had my sister and the kids here, and I was, you know, helping to financially support them and on a daily basis. And they don't want to project somebody that has their life together, guys. They want to project people that's lives are falling apart and QAnon has ruined them. And look, I've called out the QAnon since the beginning, right? But they want to also associate.
From the very beginning, it felt very like a setup. From the very beginning, none of it seemed like, oh, this is real. No, from the very jump, I'm like, you guys are getting played.
Yes,
they're getting played hard.
Absolutely. Now, this woman's speaking Italian, John, and because you know people listen to it, and you know we could read the whole thing, but it's a powerful speech. It's almost like I want to play it because I guess we'll play it in sections because it, you know, I don't want to read it. But you guys out there that are watching can read it. Thumbs up, subscribe, and share because she is so passionate that I really want people to understand that this is important. Okay, so here we go. This is the new Prime Minister.
Is this from recent?
Again, I think that this clip we're watching could be up to 2 or 3 years ago. But I would be even more impressed if this is from 2-3 years ago because she's so spot on. Here we go. And again, we'll stop it like every 30 seconds to recap it.
Ne tante altre di queste domande. A monte c'è quella che ci facciamo oggi, perché la famiglia è un nemico? Perché la famiglia fa così paura? C'è una risposta unica per tutte queste domande. Perché ci definisce, perché è la nostra identità. Perché tutto quello che ci definisce in questo tempo è un nemico, per chi vorrebbe che non avessimo più un'identità e che fossimo solamente schiavi, consumatori perfetti. E allora è sotto attacco l'identità nazionale, è sotto attacco l'identità religiosa, è sotto attacco l'identità di genere, è sotto attacco l'identità familiare. Non devo potermi definire italiana, cristiana, donna, madre, no?
Let's just stop it right there. So far, she's on fire. There's not one thing I disagree with there. As you guys know, I am like, at least on my mother's side, the majority Italian. You know, grew up in a very Italian, like, I don't know if I've ever been more proud of that. So, yeah, great. She's a mom. She's a Christian. She's, you know, into family. and she's a woman. She identifies as those things, which she is all of them. Is that bad? And she's telling you that this is an attack on us as our identity as the human family, in my opinion. But it's going to get more, all right? Because she's about to talk about how we're not robots. And she says they're trying to turn us basically into robotic computer slaves. That's what the Internet of Body is. Again, if this is years ago, I'm even more impressed, guys. So let's go back to it.
Io devo essere cittadino X, genere X, genitore 1, genitore 2, devo essere un numero. Perché quando sarò solamente un numero, quando non avrò più un'identità, quando non avrò più radici, beh, allora sarò lo schiavo perfetto in balia della grande speculazione finanziaria, il consumatore perfetto.
Let's just
Perfect
stop.
consumer, 100%.
And she nails
Useless eaters. They need you to spend and consume.
And she nails the transhumanist aspect of it there, the zeros and ones. No, that's what it was when I told you about non-binary. They're trying to
Parent
make you...
one, parent two.
Bro, I love everything she's saying right now. I can't get enough of it because they want to reduce you to a number. That's it. A long series of numbers. And you believe in that number because that's all you are. Because you're
It
conscious.
reminds me of something. What was it? What was the thing where they gave everybody a number? Where was that? When was that?
I believe it was the Good Times Happy Fun Camp, right? That's what
yeah.
you're talking about? Yeah, the Good Times Happy Fun Camp.
There's a great series that is about that we can talk about later too. That's out now.
E questa è la ragione per la quale oggi noi facciamo tanta paura. Questa è la ragione per la quale oggi questo appuntamento fa tanta paura. Perché noi non vogliamo essere dei numeri, noi siamo qui per dire che noi non siamo dei numeri, noi difenderemo il valore della persona umana, di ogni singola persona umana, perché ognuno di noi ha un codice genetico unico e irripetibile. E questo, piaccia o no, ha del sacro. Lo difenderemo Dio, la patria e la famiglia, che fanno tanto schifo a qualcuno. Lo faremo per difendere la nostra libertà, perché noi non saremo mai schiavi e semplici consumatori in balia della speculazione finanziaria. Ecco la nostra missione, ecco perché oggi sono venuta qui. Scriveva Chesterton ormai più di un secolo fa.
Let's stop it before we get to this quote, because the quote's very powerful too. But wow, right, John? I mean, she's like, we're unique. We have an unreplicatable DNA unique code that they don't want to talk about.
Yeah.
I'm loving, again, even more impressed with this woman if this is a couple years ago, because you better bet your ass she knows what's going on. Again, it's coming. It's not coming. It's here. These people already told you they've taken hold of the evolution of everything on the planet. That's why we got the GMO foods. That's why we got the billionaires that just decide what can and cannot be spoken about and what positions you can and cannot take. That's how it goes well beyond left and right. I mean, look at the paradigm in Ukraine right now. Again, we're playing this woman just like we played the other side of the story yesterday. Was there anything that the foreign minister of Russia said at the UN that was wrong? I mean, it was hard for me to disagree with anything. He spoke for 24 minutes. This is a 2-minute clip. And she's about to wind it up with some real power here. All right? I want people to really think this. Again, no matter what side of the political spectrum you think you're on. Okay?
Vediamo se ve lo trovo. Fuochi verranno attizzati per dimostrare che 2 più 2 fa 4. Spade verranno sguainate per dimostrare che le foglie sono verdi in estate. Quel tempo è arrivato, signori. Siamo pronti. Grazie.
I mean, John, come on, right? Like, wow.
It's nice. Sounds good. Obama made a lot of cool speeches too, though.
You're not wrong. But listen, at least to me,
actions. Actions. I need actions, man. I need to see the actions.
I'm with you.
The words are cheap, man. Words are cheap.
You know what? That's a good segue into, we haven't plugged your stuff. And by the way, thumbs it up, subscribe, share. Great news, everybody. Again, if you didn't hear yesterday, if you didn't tune in, we are going to be live in probably a couple weeks, 2 to 3 weeks, 4 days a week. Morning show. I think it's going to be, we're looking from, I think, 9 to 11 a.m. Central Time. And it's going to be exclusively the second half over at Red Voice Media. We're going to be streaming it across platforms. Other than that, 2 hours, 4 days a week, reality rants with Jason Bermas. Don't worry, we're going to still do this show. I'm also going to do extras. But you can go subscribe over at redvoicemedia.net/Jason for 99 cents right now. You get the next month. But we're expanding. We finally did it, John. We finally did it where somebody's finally investing in the show, and we're gonna keep that up, and I'm pretty happy about it. We're gonna have to have Fitch on in that as well. But mixed martial mindset going nowhere. Fitch, why don't you tell people about your website, especially since you are pretty much banned on the large scale social media platforms?
All for my spicy memes. Yeah, go johnfish.net, sign up for the newsletter. I've got a lot of fitness programs, meal plan. I've got a package together, put stuff together. I've got, right now I'm working on a practical self-defense course. I have an intro to practical self-defense that's available now for free on my Gumroad. But I'm working on the next evolution of that because it's not getting any safer out there. There's a lot of crazy stuff going on. You need to be able to protect yourself, protect your family. A lot of people who are acting out emotionally. And one of the major themes I'm hearing when you see these acts of violence, these random emotional outbursts and people getting beat up or attacked is the same thing. Okay. You start in the middle of a fight, somebody's getting beat up. It's ugly. And everybody's like, well, you don't know what happened first. You don't know what happened to force them to beat them up. And I'm like, excuse me? There is nothing that somebody could say to cause that. Like we talked about the hatchet man in New York City subway the other day. People were defending him saying, hey, you don't know what was said to him before he hit that guy. I'm like, I'm sorry. That's never okay. That's not okay. Oh, he said a bad word. He said he made me feel bad about something. He said something mean. So now I get to punch him in the face. That's not okay. That's not how society's supposed to work.
Nope.
Okay. And these rules protect you from people like me, somebody who knows what they're doing, somebody who's good at violence. I would have no problem with the complete collapse of society. And I get to start up my own little warlord organization and I get to use violence for whatever I want to. I'd be fine with that.
Well, let me say
I
this.
wouldn't blink twice. It'd be a good life. I'd have a good life probably. Okay. But you don't want that. The rest of you people do not want that. You don't want a bunch of psychopaths like me using violence to get whatever we want to, whenever we want to. So you're going to have to show a little bit of emotional restraint. You're not going to be able to act out in violence. Okay. It's not all right.
Well, you know what, John,
there's nothing a person could say. There's not a single word uttered out of a person's mouth to make it okay for you to beat them up.
You know, I was going to segue to another story, but that actually really does kind of bring us to the point where that'll only last for so long, right? Because they don't want the John Fitches of the world. They don't want people that can defend themselves. And, you know, I was watching this Vice show and something about, I think it's Betraying the Badge. I think Ice-T does the vocals on it. And I was unaware of this group, but it was, you know, not a group. It wasn't the Black Panthers. It was somebody else. But they were having issues with them in the local police department outside of Detroit, right? And so they were in a shootout in this neighborhood building, not on the best block or whatever, with the cops for a while. You know what they end up doing? They end up going to get a helicopter, just dropped a straight up bomb on the whole place and killed everybody. Like, I know, man. Like, and that's in the 80s. See, that's something that's not taught to you. Now, they went to that level of force then, right? But now they have the automated
they got robot dogs with guns strapped to them. They got drone bombs. They got all kinds of stuff.
Well, we're gonna show people this Israeli checkpoint. I think it's in Hebron, and we're gonna show people. It's called Smart Shooter, and it's just AI driven, and it'll kill you. You know what I mean? Period.
Well, it's totally unhackable, completely. Yeah, sure.
Well, before we get there, I did want to play again how much we're getting gaslit, where even their kind of like global concerts where everybody's like, yeah, man, we love the planet. Woo, global initiative. They don't know what they're really promoting. What they're promoting is the China style of governance and social credit score combined with this techno-medical eco-fascism, where you think you're saving the earth, but really they're using it as an excuse to literally direct the biology of what they allow as a human being in a whole social credit, carbon credit score. That's what they're really doing. Now, even though they've been fooled by that, they're not fooled by Nancy Pelosi. So we're going to bring up Pelosi. And this is the reality. Again, they gaslight us constantly, John, but no one wants the Pelosi anywhere.
I couldn't talk.
As Speaker of the House, I am here to thank you for your dedication.
I say, what the hell?
Everybody's booing because no one likes Nancy Pelosi.
She's terrible. Look what she's done in San Francisco. What a horrible. She has enriched herself so much at the expense of the people in Silicon Valley and San Francisco. Like, gross human being.
And again, that's the most, the quote unquote liberal area maybe on the planet other than the West Coast where John lives. That's New York City. That's the Global Citizens Festival, right? That's where all the little
Global
puppets...
Citizens Festival booed her.
I know it's out of control.
But if you just focus on what's online and what they allow to be on your timeline, you would think that people like her.
I posted
her own people don't like her.
Did you see
her
it,
own
John?
people, her own side is booing her. That's her tribe. Boo! But they won't show that to you on your timeline. It won't come up.
And here's another thing that's not going to come up. Now, before I even play this, and you're looking at it, that's freedom in Israel and Palestine. Okay, and we highlighted yesterday that when the Russian foreign minister talked, he talked about a two-state solution. He talked about, again, Palestine having its own independence. He also talked about, basically restructuring Libya to what it once was, right? All these things. He's like, hey, where did you go and provide freedom where anything got better, right? And he was spot on. And often we don't talk about what happens on the Israeli border, but we're going to talk about this technology because the gun is at the top. But for those that don't think that this very much is an apartheid state, or, at least the leaders of the state, very, ethno state. I mean, Netanyahu, and I liken this to a cabal anywhere at the top, right? When you have the power structure at the top, they're always trying to incite other people. And he just says straight up, this is a nation state of Jewish people and them alone. This is mainstream news, NPR. Back in 2019, not a state of all its citizens. All right. And now Jimmy Carter actually wrote the book, Palestine, Peace, Not Apartheid. It's an apartheid state. And if you don't understand, I would say Gaza Fight for Freedom by Abby Martin, that'll let you just know. I mean, look at that wall. That's nothing. Like, these people, in many cases, have been moved into and live in an open air prison. And you can scream terror all you want. Carter even defended it after they came after him. Eventually, he bowed to the mob and he changed the title of the book. But let me just show you where we're at. And then we're going to show you the actual technology on top of it. So this is in Hebron. We're going to just take the volume all the way. There's the automatic weapon right there, ready to shoot you. There it is. Lovely. The sharpshooter. Okay? At all times. It's AI driven. All right, at all things. You have to go through this. They don't have to imagine it. Now, if you don't think this can come here to the United States, you're not paying attention. You're a domestic terrorist at this point. The defense
will go up around the outside of the gated communities and the rich neighborhoods when they have their private security there to protect them and the robot dogs, because the police force will be demolished, diminished. Like, yeah, it won't be there to protect you.
Yeah, no, it's not. And that's the whole thing.
We're already undertrained.
Especially if these people, again, and this is what the Atlantic is pushing, and this is what I saw on Vice's In Search of QAnon, the second series, right? They're all attacking Reawaken America, where I speak. They're all, I mean, they're on the Flynn attack, like Flynn did this. I don't believe that Flynn did QAnon. All right, I don't. I think, again, we've talked about it here on this program. I think
FBI or CIA, somebody.
I think it started, again, as a bunch of DEF CON pranksters who thought they were hilarious, that had a hold of it. And then it got, basically co-opted a little bit, but at the same time, bought by other pranksters that wanted to utilize it for political means. And then the intelligence community ran with it 100%. and people
Or
leaned into it.
could be China. Could be China too. China.
I haven't seen the quote unquote Chinese connections. I think it started again as a LARP by terrible people. Let's start there. Like that's really what it was. People, and that's when the term LARP, like you were some kind of hero if you were trolling somebody with lies. Hey guys, lies don't fucking make friends. I'm sorry I cursed right there. Shouldn't have. I'm trying to clean up my act here, especially since we're going live 4 days a week. But it's truth. And honesty, to me, is one of the most important aspects of human love for one another. You try to be as honest as possible. You try to tell the truth no matter where it goes. It empowers humanity. When
Now,
you're
tell the truth, or at least don't lie.
listen, and we've all done bad things, and there's certainly situations, for survival purposes where you should lie, right? Like, you know what I mean? Like, if all of a sudden everybody's getting held up and you just give out your wallet and they're taking it and you've got another $5,000, stuffed in your shoe, and they're not making people take off their shoes, and they say, all right, you got anything else on you? You say no. Is that a bad lie? That's the white lie. Here you go, sir. Here, take it all. Take it all. Certainly don't put yourself in danger. But at the same time, you don't pride yourself on lying to people about important issues like that, right? Like, I guess a jackass prank with a grandpa, that's funny. Who's really getting hurt there? But like when people start believing in real superheroes, like white hats are coming to save you, and they start talking about adrenochrome and celebrities.
People showed up in Texas because they thought JFK was coming back.
You know what? I talked to my buddy, and he's a Long Island guy, and I love him to death. And another thing that they always try to say with the QAnon thing and these narratives, and was a big part of Shadowlands, is it tears families apart. It tears people apart. I can assure you, first of all, I'm not a QAnon guy, but it hasn't. None of my relationships have been torn apart with my human beings. Even he said to me, he's like, I would love it, Jason, if you told me that you were one of the guys that started it and you started the JFK thing. He's like, that's my favorite. And he just, he hates those people, but he also respects, for some reason, this troll culture. It's weird, right? Like, I don't respect it at all. I think it's disgusting. I think it's disturbing. I think it does ruin and hurt lives, because a lot of the stuff we cover here that's real, guys, like hey, the automated death machine at a border that could come to you right now. Like, we'll continue to play it in the background. A lot of this gets co-opted by people that are talking about Johnny Nonsense, or like he said, JFK Jr. Yeah. You totally discredit yourself, number one. And number two, you make people inactive because they think that someone's coming to save them. Many people have already been killed here. Okay? Get it through your head. The little death gates here have already taken lives. And there was no human that was at the helm other than the programming of that. So over 200 Palestinians a day are using this checkpoint.
RoboCop. Remember the original RoboCop?
I do. I remember.
The things like, put down the gun. He's like, I did. And the robot didn't recognize it and blew the guy away anyways.
So,
and since when has any electronic device not been hacked by somebody?
And by the way, this is the newer.
When have they made things so secure that that's not a possibility? I'm sorry, man. I don't want to ride an electric car. I don't want AI trucks. I don't want to have AI anything in my household. No thanks.
I'm okay too. Thanks.
It's like I'm this close to like going Amish, man.
Well, Elon Musk has already bragged that now he has Starlink operating on every continent, including Antarctica. And by the way, guys, because we cover the Musker nuts, not your friend. And we also covered the idea that Grimes was going elf ears. Apparently she didn't go elf ears. She went alien eyes.
Yeah, this whole look of this anamorphous alien face that the Kardashians started back in the day. This isn't attractive, people. I don't think men don't find this attractive. Actual men who can pick up and talk to girls, they don't find this attractive. Guys who can't get girls take whatever they can, so they say it looks good. And then women are in competition with each other. Oh, she got what? She spent how much on whatever thing? Oh, that's amazing. And then they do it to compete with each other. It's gross. I think the Kardashians are a CIA asset. They created to destroy families and destroy women's minds.
I mean, look, we could get into all. See, this is where we get to speculation, right? Like, I think that Hollywood in itself kind of pushes the most kind of grotesque culture. That's not, they do everything that's more and more profitable, but I think that when you're pushing a culture where everything is glamorized and glorified in the sense of possessions, and people become things, right? And fame is really
money's all that matters. Oh, I got paid. I'm making money. Did he make money? That's all that matters to a lot of people.
Well, I always go. I never really watched.
I started watching the Bling Ring on Netflix. Yeah, one more episode to go, but it's about these teenagers that were robbing the starlets, Paris Hilton and those people. Like TMZ would tell them when they're on vacation or whatever, so they knew where their houses were, and use Google Maps to like go rob them. And a lot of times they're in rich communities, so like none of the car doors are locked, none of the mansion doors are locked. So they would go in and they would go in, they would steal the swag bags and the things that were gifts from different companies and whatever. And it's like, it was gross to kind of watch. I was like, because these people are like fetishizing this fame.
And by the way, they're
do anything
unrepentant
to be famous and have the stuff, but like not actually build anything tangible. It's just emptiness.
Well, here's the thing. The other thing is that you make kind of like pseudo heroes out of these people because they tell you they're not sorry for what they did. They're basically sorry.
Oh, now they're famous. Now they're famous and they got money. They got their own clothing lines and all kinds of stuff going on because they were stealing from people. Mm-hmm. And like, they're not sorry. The main guy that they're talking to in this thing, he's 100% zero remorse at all.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. They glorify it. That's another thing that's been pushed by Hollywood and culture in general that I don't think people perceive is that, once again, big time crime has been glorified. It's become acceptable. Being the bad guy's cool. And even the kind of Hollywood revelation of how dirty politics is through House of Cards and Kevin Spacey, right? And him being an amalgamation of that. Again, people are like, well, that's just how it is. And if I want to make it, that's how I'm going to be. And that's insane to me, right? You don't want to glorify those things. At the same time, some of the people that do the most evil things, they get turned into heroes. And we never hear about their misdeeds whatsoever. A lot of this is perception. And it's unfortunate because the perception they constantly try to give you that's subliminal, again, is you will be rewarded for the most grotesque and revolting behavior. And that's how you climb that's how you survive, right? In social Darwinism. You become a social climber. You are the Rockefellers at the turn of the century. You are the Bush family after them that climbs. You want to be those people if you want to have power, period. And that's also kind of the destruction of the family for us, but not for them. You notice all those guys have a lot of kids. Elon Musk's got a lot of kids for Mr. Sustainable Development and Tesla cars. You know what I'm saying? So I think they recognize that aspect of it as well. I was watching this Immortality Inc. conference from 2020, right? And it's on C-SPAN. Anybody can go watch it, and we'll probably end up doing a watch along of some of the segments. But they get to the question of the moral conundrum. What if you can live forever, right? Like, basically, what if you're successful and you can regenerate life? And the one guy is kind of like, F you. He's like, of course. And to an extent, I actually agree with the guy. I'm like, if you can live to 150 and you don't age progressively and get like the last 20 years of your life is terrible, but you just age less and you're healthy, great. Right? I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think our species could be developed to do that biomedically without having to change our genome or anything like that, right? Those type of, basically telomere repair, et cetera, stuff they've done in smaller organisms. But then they get to the next two people, and the one woman, I like her answer. She doesn't think we can do it at all. She says, we don't even have to worry about that question because we can't really do it, and we're not going to ever be able to do it. And then the last guy, whose last name just happens to be Harari, and I think Life something or other is what he did. He's like, you know what? I'm not even going to answer that. Like, they don't even really want to answer the question because the answer to the question is, massive population control because they've already made most of us amalgamate with the machines. I was watching Kurzweil at the same time. And that's the idea. The idea is that behind the scenes, these people are biologically trying to extend their lives. And they've already gotten most of us to believe we're zeros and ones, accept certain amounts of machines and nanobots in our body, and change us into a subspecies controlled by machines. Literally not only enslave our minds, but our biology, and take financial, I mean, what that woman was talking about, take financial control. That's again what this this executive order is all about. Like, you know, I keep going back to it, but it's a real executive order. And where is it? How can I not find it? There's that. It's right here. The executive order on advancing biotechnology and biomanufacturing for a sustainable, safe, and secure American bioeconomy. Bioeconomy? Why don't you get the mother truck out of here? All right. You know what a bioeconomy comes with? It comes with automated machines of death. So I want to show this right here. Boom. And what we got here?
The new autonomous smash hopper firing system. The car is armored and equipped by Plaza Ram. The objective? To aim and shoot without being seen.
We took the capabilities of the Smash, this advanced vision system that allows precision shots from the first bullet against static or moving targets.
Only one Smash I trust. That's John Fitch. That's it. Not automated weapons. Wait till you see how, all right, so like when you watch this and you see how easy it is for someone that has no idea how to aim something to kill somebody, I hope people wake up.
Including drones, and we have it placed in the remote-controlled firing system.
A system can be placed on traditional military vehicles, autonomous cars, armored personal carriers, even robots, with one specific objective in mind: to remove soldiers from friction points whilst achieving the same operational result, even with moving targets. In fact, this is how it works. In the era of all technology, it looks rather easy to use.
I block a target with a single click. I lift the safety catch, and I shoot.
Okay?
I have hit my target. I'm looking for another target, shooting. A third target, shooting. It's that simple. But
I mean, take a good look, guys. That's not even like Call of Duty tough. Like literally, and we're talking about insta-death. And again, on drones, robots, whatever. And that's, I want to remind people, that's with a human. This is like 2 years old. It's like 2-year-old technology. So that's with a human guiding it. We're to the point with the other smart shooter system at the gate. There is no human controlling it.
Mm-hmm.
This is a problem. And this is why they want to trick you. And that's why everything is.
They want you to give up your guns. You don't need guns, but they're going to have this type of technology.
Well, they also
That's
want you to use
insanity.
those guns against your neighbor. Like and that's.
Oh, your neighbor's not using his masks?
I wish it was like, it was, you know, simpler than that. It's not. Like, that's it. They want you to use it against your neighbor, folks. Like, that's the real deal. Like,
These
and
crazy right-wing extremist maggots.
well, if you start using it against your neighbor,
We
then
don't
they get
even
to use
need
the
the guns. They don't
robots.
even need the guns, though. Yeah, guys running people down with their trucks.
No one's
They're all right.
endorsing that. Like, obviously, I want to see what else
I
is said.
feel
by-
like me, they are. You know, they let the guy out he admitted to doing it for political reasons, and they let him out $50,000 bail.
Well, I'm talking
What
about
happened to Cowler? Now,
pundit-wise.
they didn't let him out for $2 million.
Yeah, no, listen. Obviously, there's more than double standards. We're there.
That sounds like even more of a double. That sounds like, hey, congratulations. That's exactly what we want.
Well, they do. Again, they want you to kill other people that have like more in common with you than anything else, right? That's kind of the goal. Is they would love the the citizens to pop off against one another, and then totally misdirect against the actual enemies, which you're not. Even listen, guys, power is a vacuum. Even if you like physically took out 20% of the quote unquote bad guys, which I think would be a way high number. I don't think 20% would be possible. Maybe 10. There's always people willing to come up and do evil shit. There's always people waiting in the wings. Like, this is why it is a spiritual battle, in my opinion, right? Like, that's the aspect. That's why they also want to kill not only family, but the belief in a deity, a God, a consciousness, a spirit, because they're coming for everything. This is, you're going to have to really maneuver in the next 5 to 10 years in this country. The primaries are what, 30 something days away, John?
Yeah, it's not far.
Yeah, I think we're in the.
So
30.
we're getting close. So start looking out for some really crazy stuff going down in the next 30 days or so.
Well, here's the Imagination Land makeup date right now today for the non-happening on 9/24. Remember, everybody was saying September 24th was going to be a day in infamy, John, and we never covered it here because it was Johnny Nonsense.
Was that another QAnon thing?
It was like a subdivision of that, where whenever I tell people, whenever there's a specific date that's going around on the internet as this is it, or something terrible is going to happen, watch yourself. You know what I mean? The only days of infamy are when they decide to run a shock and awe program, or, for instance, and you still don't remember the day of shock and awe. You just remember the day that started it all, 9/11. Right? Mm-hmm. Even when they sign into legislation things that will change our lives forever, we usually don't know the date. You have to go back to, a documentary or a documented event. Those events are few and far between. You'll remember where you were on such and such a date. Very, very rare. So whenever you hear that phrase, or it's going to be biblical, or like any of that stuff, watch your tone. Right? Every day is a struggle. Every day is biblical in your own life. Stop giving so much weight to these haughty predictions. Watch what's happening. Watch the patterns. Watch what people are doing and acting and saying. For instance, shit is real right now over in the Ukraine and Russia. And they feel like they're being put up against a wall. And I don't know what the next step is. I'm not saying that everything is going to go nuclear, but these are, like, I would say, the most legit threats that we've ever seen. And obviously the United States is balls deep in this conflict, period, right?
Unfortunately. Shouldn't be. We shouldn't be anywhere near it.
No. Not only shouldn't it be, but then you got the poopy pants puppet in chief, right? Where anything he says, they can just walk
30,
back.
She was 12.
I was 30. She was 12. She helped me get very far. That, like, we'll talk later. Like, then I'm sure you saw the global health initiative one where he just kind of goes to the side. He doesn't know what's going on.
Wandering around.
But at the same
somebody
time,
somebody get grandpa.
What was really
down.
What was really scary about that is it works right into this agenda of a multitude of genders. Right, the transgender to transhuman agenda. This is the UN schools. This is Eunice. You have, of course, their logo with the mustached man-woman of Earth. Remember, it's not Mother Earth anymore, and how it's about recycling, and how it's about windmills, and it's also about health. This is the Peace for Health, Health for Peace campaign. Where are we? There we go. The Health for Peace Initiative by Tedros. The fact that gender and health are now World Health Organization, so they want to control the narrative here. And Biden actually spoke for 5 minutes before he didn't know where he was. And it was all about...
hey, luckily, though, he said the thing is over. He said the pandemic
they took
over.
it. They ran that back. I'll show that. No, that's not...
I know they're trying to take it back, but he said it. He still said it.
Yeah, but at the same, he was looking at pretty cars, John. I mean, Jean-Pierre told us he was looking at pretty cars.
You mean we can't take what the president says seriously?
Well, you can take it seriously when he says he's going to devote billions of dollars to the gender initiatives globally and global health to save all these lives. And not only that, he bragged on stage in front of all these people that they were going to have a 31-to-1 return. Remember when Gates said he was getting that sweet 20-to-1 return? Basically, this new health initiative is going to give these people with the climate system and the gender initiative is going to give them a 31-to-1 return. We played the clips here. So he, like, if you actually watch the video, you could tell they had him on those like really speedy amphetamines, right? He was reading really quick. But yeah, I mean, he slipped up a lot. He kept coughing. But those were the two things. See, it's all fun and games. You know who introduced him, by the way, John? Our best friend. Bill Gates introduced him. So before when he came on, like, again, we've played it here. You know, maybe we should see if we can bring it up. Let's see. Maybe we'll get it. We should, because it's important, I guess, right? It's important to see what this guy is actually pushing. Thumbs it up, subscribe, and share, everybody. Remember to Rockfin, and Rumble. We rumble saucing. That's, by the way, where you're going to find everything free and uncensored. So far, we've been pretty good here. We might be able to do the whole broadcast on YouTube. Believe it hasn't happened in a long time, but we're hoping. Let's see. We got Joe Biden here. We don't want just the global initiative. Come on, man. Like, a lot of this stuff is tough. We'll show you how we do it here. 22nd. That was at the UN. Let's go to see all appearances. Here we go. There's him with Elton John. What is this, the 20th? It can't be. That's Cancer Moonshot. Did I have to pull that? I guess I must have the video. Let's do that. Where's this? Downloads. I must have the video because it's not there. Peter Thiel, the Russian guy. Maybe I don't have the video. Have you seen the corn video by Bill Gates? How creepy it is.
Oh, I thought it was a fake thing, but it was real.
No, it's totally real because it's about
fake
climate
picture.
change and corn. Let's play. I got Jean-Pierre over here, walking it back. We can play that.
Karine, the president also in the 60 Minutes interview said that the pandemic is over. There's been quite a bit of pushback to that statement by the president. Where is he today on that?
So just to step back for a second, what we saw during that interview, 60-minute interview, when he made those comments, he was walking through the Detroit car show, the halls of the Detroit car show, and he was looking around. We have to remember the last time that they had held that event was 3 years ago.
He was at a car show looking around.
A car show. Come on. You can't take any of that seriously. Oh my God.
But again,
he was distracted by the beauty of those cars. Was there a car in the shape of a little girl or something?
Bro, and that's the next thing. You know, I got to bring that. They literally brought a small child to him out to Biden after, like, that's like was the whole like dessert. Did they take it down already? Oh, we lost Fitch for a second.
Oh, I think it might.
Yeah, no, fix it up. I got you. I know the deal. Let me see. There's the 23rd. When did this take place? Probably on like the 20th. Global Health Initiative. So we're down to the 14th. That's not it. Congressional was way after the cancer and the Queen. Forget about the Disclose Act. What is this? Is this recent airings? No. We don't want recent airings. We want most recent events. See, they try to trick you. There's his UN address. I still haven't. There's Disclose. Maybe they didn't air it on here. Where did I watch that? That's terrible. You know, let's go to my history, everybody. Because I fear not you see my history. And we'll see if we can get Biden on here. And we'll find it. Doesn't look good. There's Biden. President remarks at the Democratic National Committee. That's today. Karine. Let's see. Biden nervous on his foot. Congressional Hispanic Caucus Institute. No, that's when he tries to sing Happy Birthday. I guess the Global Fund. There it is. Boom. Bam. Global Fund in New York. Here he is. So, again, none of this is funny, by the way. This is all terrible. But there's Bill Gates introducing him.
We have so much to do. So let's get to work. And thank you all for all you're doing. God bless you all.
Now, this is where he just totally loses it, by the way. But if we roll it back like 30 seconds, he even mentions gender again there. But let's watch him lose it.
Mr. President, thank you. At the end
He's like,
of such a
he's like, "Where's
momentous
Brock?"
event,
Look at him.
the word thank you seems
Brock's here.
kind of inadequate. But for all the millions whose lives will be saved, for the communities where life will be transformed, thank you. So thank you, President Biden, for your outstanding leadership.
Outstandingly, this guy could barely read off of his script. These are all terrible people, okay? So, again, you know what?
Well, it seemed like he was thrown off too, because Biden's just like lurking in the shadows on the side of the stage.
Yeah, because they're about to take the terrible
he's like-
pictures afterwards with just some of the worst people ever. Trudeau's over there. There's Gatesy. Let's see, Macron's there as well. It's the terrible crew. But check it out. So you got to watch this, because after, like, there's Macron after the pictures, right? Guess what? They're like, bring me the child. Look, bring him the child. He can't wait. Oh, they're bringing me a small child. Oh my goodness, I can't wait. Where's the spot? There we go. And look, so this video is 13 minutes long, John. Okay. So I feel bad. I don't want to put the child on blast. This video is 13 minutes long. He speaks for about 4 minutes. Then they do the pictures and whatever. 3 minutes of it is him literally just chatting it up. Oh, we got to get another pic with the kid before I go. And then he's on his way out. So they bring him the kid as like his prize before they basically walk him off. This is the guy that's supposed to be in charge of the country, everybody. That's the guy they're telling you runs the show. He doesn't know where he is. What am I supposed to say to that? He's looking at cars when he's talking about COVID policy. So it doesn't count. It's where we're at, John.
We saw great fights at Bellator on Friday.
I watched them.
Did
I
you
watched
see 'em?
4. I watched
The very first fight. Did you see that submission?
Yes. Yes.
The Lucanator.
Yes.
That was wild.
Yes.
Never seen anything like it before.
Wait a minute. You're talking about the prelims. I only got to see the highlight
It was,
of that.
yeah, no, it was the very first fight of the show.
Oh, no. I only watched the...
This guy, Pocklet, Lucas Pocklet, something like that. He hit this one-armed, head and arm, upside down, reverse guillotine. It was the weirdest thing. He named it the Lucanator. I have so many questions. Like, if he trained this, was it on purpose, or did he just catch a head and arm in a scramble and just like, I'm gonna squeeze and see what happens? Like, it was wild, man. It was a wild submission. There's a lot of really good fights on that card. We saw the end of Melvin Manhoff. He's retired now. That guy, he's got 32 wins, 29 knockouts. 26 of those knockouts were in the first round. Quite a spectacular career. Yoel Romero looked great. And, he's 44 or something, 45, but there's a good chance he's actually closer to 50.
He did look physically great.
He comes from Cuba, and, they don't have much food there, and I think a lot of the paperwork gets eaten.
Yeah, no, I get it.
I watched. There's also the shenanigans with Mayweather boxed.
I watched it
Saturday night.
Dude, here's the thing. I tried.
The best fight on the card was his bodyguard. His bodyguard fought a guy.
Well, it's not real. Here's the thing.
It was the most entertaining. It was the most entertaining fight. It was really fun. I liked watching that fight. Mayweather was fun to watch too. Like, he's still got it. He got hit hard at least twice, maybe 3 times, like harder than McGregor or anybody else has hit him in a long time. Snapped his head back, but he was still playing with the guy.
Here's my problem, John.
When it was time to put him away, he put him away.
First of all, I loved it. Right, I love they did that. Even the MMA fight was pretty good. They had the Muay Thai fight in there. That's good too.
Mixed card. I like the way they're doing it. I just like Japanese MMA, Japanese promotions better.
My problem is
you get a feeling like they're actual athletes. They're actual professional athletes, not a clown show.
Well, bro,
not some clown show circus.
Come on. The last 2 fights kind of were the clown show circus that you tuned in for, and they were fun. That's fine. I like that.
Yeah,
Japanese
but
aspect.
The people in the crowd, the people in the audience.
But again, here's the deal. I'm a hardcore, so I wanted to watch the card, right? Because Resident 38 with Koraguchi was the main event. They had 7 more fights after that. It took 2 hours and 15 minutes from a show that ended at 1:30 because they made you wait almost 45 minutes for Floyd, right? And they got no promos, nothing else. But I watched 2 of the fights on the other side, which were fun fights, right?
I didn't even know they had fights after the fight.
Yes, it was. That's
Oh,
my
wow.
problem. It was Ryzen 38 after that. So that was the super show. That was happening in the daytime for the pay-per-view audience, about as late as they could go for making money with Fight TV. But then the actual card started. So there were 7 more fights. And my issue is I'm the hardcore guy. I was willing to wait like a 40-minute, an hour. I waited the 2-hour plus for the next, because they did the whole thing again. You know how at Japanese fight cards, they bring all the fighters out and they do the so they did that all again. Yeah. So it literally took for the next fight 2.5 hours. I caught 2 of them, and they're both fun because I like the soccer kicks on the ground, all that stuff.
Yeah, I like soccer kicks. I like knees to the head on the ground. I like elbows on the ground. I want to bring back the headbutts, and I lose the gloves.
Well, I like the gloves because you don't break your hands. You see enough people breaking their hands.
It adds a level of skill to it, though, because you got to know how to throw the good punches and where to throw them and when to throw them. You can't just blindly go crazy.
So tough, man.
I think it adds a layer of skill to it.
Man, I think that's what bare knuckles for. I like the gloves. I do. Look, and bare knuckles brutal, man. Some of it's pretty good.
I'm a purist, man. I want to see what works. What's the best techniques? What's the best style? I want to open it up. I want the least amount of restrictions possible.
Well,
Let's do it. It's a fight. It's a fight. Come on. We're not playing tiddlywinks.
All right, we're gonna end on that. Fitch, tell everybody where your stuff's at, where they can follow you, what you got going on.
Go to johnfish.net. All right, check things out there. I do consultations. I got fitness programs. I got all kinds of stuff for you to learn how to fight better. The intro to practical self-defense is a free course I have. If you've never had any martial arts or self-defense training, pick it up, check it out. It's quick, easy, and free. And then I'm working on the practical self-defense course now. I'm doing some editing there. That'll be a lot of fun for you guys to take a look at also.
Folks, for only $1, you can sign up for Red Voice Media Premium. Now, there's obviously more than Jason Bermas, but they have invested in Jason Bermas. And like I said, we're going to be doing 4 days a week morning show. You're still going to be able to listen to the whole thing. We're trying to arrange it where you can listen to the whole thing free on Podbean. We're going to do the first hour on YouTube, Rumble, and Rockfin, and then it's going to move over exclusively to Red Voice Media. So $10 a month, $100 for the year, redvoicemedia.net/Jason. The link is down below. You want to donate directly? We've got the Buy Me a Coffee. We also want you to check out all the documentary films, Loose Change, Final Cut, Fabled Enemies, Invisible Empire, A New World Order Defined, and, of course, Shade the Motion Picture. We're on Rockfin. That's also $9.99 a month and a way to support me, and we're rumbling. We're rumbling uncensored. We're growing that. We're making $1 a day at Rumble. So let's make it to the point where we grow 10 times and make $10 a day. Let's support Fitch over on all the platforms, including YouTube. Fitch, we'll be back next week for Mixed Martial Mindset.
Yep. All righty. We'll check you all later.
Later on, everybody.